What's that saying? Without bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. So, my washer crapped out on me again. This time it's not the belt. This time we actually blew a circuit breaker. And there's smoke coming out of the motor. So I'm going to assume the motor's bad. Blew the motor. So it looks like there's a connector here. It looks like I should just be able to pull that. It's like a six pin connector. And so now I got to pull the motor somehow. I don't know. I guess we got to pull the belts off. First thing to do, of course, is unplug the machine. And it is unplugged. But I got to pull the belts off here. Actually, what I better do is loosen like that. So there's 2 screws to loosen the water pump, and then the lower belt comes off. And then move the tensioner over. Pull this other belt off. Looks like 4 screws under here hold the whole shebang on, and it looks like a ground wire too, although somebody must have cut that. It wasn't me. Okay, so 4 screws that hold the whole motor down, looks like. And in my favor, 8mm fits as well, and this happens to be already loaded with 8mm. One. So this is 3, and this is 4 over here. So 4 sheet metal screws hold the mount down. That, this whole thing should just come out. Oh, yeah. One. 2. 3. Like I said before, a metal tray is always helpful. Screw. Or nut, sorry, not. Washer. Stupid ground wire that doesn't go anywhere. Washers. Almost looks like that bend. The rubber pieces do come off. Isolation mounts. All right. So the pulley has to be moved over. Let's take this over the bench, maybe pull it apart. So we'll start with the plastic splash cover. I only see one screw holding it on. I don't know how else it's stuck. Looks like you might just have to pry it up. From the look of it, this whole unit appears to be as if it was fit together and had something done to it here, epoxied or whatever. So that certainly brings down the likelihood that I'll be able to fix it. So at this point, the long and the short of this is that I cannot fix this motor. It's burnt out, and it appears to me that the union here is strong enough that, short of me taking a sledgehammer to it or a die grinder here, I can't separate this, and if I can't separate it, then I can't fix whatever's going on with the armature. Anyway, so I can't fix it. Alright, so now what? This happens to come from Allen Appliance on eBay. This is a used motor. A new motor is somewhere around the $200 mark, possibly a whole lot more. Packed nice. Gee, that's a lot of bubble wrap. Okay. For me, you shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have. That's all right. Okay. I did notice when I was looking for motors that this particular part number, and I think there are other similar motors, 27179, this particular part number does have a single spindle and two pulleys on it. Guys really went all out with the bubble wrap here. That's a pretty neat way to do it. Well, it certainly looks like this motor's a lot cleaner. For all intents and purposes, as far as I can see, this looks like it's identical. Cool. Now it looks to me like I've got a wiring harness here, and it looks like ideally I need to transfer that over. blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow, red. Looks like they just cut this quick, so, but at least that's salvaged. Blue. Blue, yellow, and then red. Blue, yellow, red. Nice thing about videoing this, you can always go back and see what you did wrong if you're not sure about the order. And then white. And then pink and brown, pink and brown, pink is on the far side. Pink and brown. There you go. Pink is on this side. Yep. Pink and brown. And these are all labeled here anyway, too, so that's nice. That works for me. Also nice to label. They got this labeled with an A here for Allen's. But always nice to label these, that way you don't get them messed up. You don't want to put the bad motor in. This motor did have this cover on it, so I might as well replace that. Put a washer on here too, why not? Screw goes on. This is just for retaining this plastic thing, so it does not need to be on tight. There we go. This whole plastic thing is now on there. Seems to be alright. I guess we can bring this back over to the unit, although probably want to actually do what we can on the bench. So let's put this part on. So I suppose the top goes back on like this. You have to spring the spring here. The whole thing to sit down. Then you do the rubber stuff here. Washers. That's all four. Now the nuts. 1, 2, 3. In case anybody's wondering, I think these are 1032. 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, this would be a good time to replace this roller here, but I don't have a replacement, so I'll have to do that one day in the future. Hopefully now we can bring it back. So here we go with this. Remove that belt for now. So the motor has a couple of tabs. It just kind of, actually just a tab, just sits in there. And then 4 speed bolts hold it in here. Cool. That's 3 bolts. Just tricky getting this 4th one in here. Now we attach the main belt, which has to go around the tensioner pulley and the main pulley. Not easily going to be able to show how to do that, sorry. So bring the belt around the top pulley on the motor. Now all you want to do is make sure you bring the belt inside the tensioner. And the tensioner is you're gonna see the spring start loading. So you can actually press on the spring this way to loosen the tensioner, get the belt around, and then let it go. And then of course you want to make sure, without cutting your finger off, that this whole thing runs smoothly, which it does. Okay, next is the small belt, and the small belt goes around the water pump and the small pulley. And the way this is tensioned is very crude, but it's down these 2 bolts here. Alright, so the belt is around, and now this has to be tightened like that. So you got it tight. That's it. 2 bolts. That should do. One. 2. Now use the wiring harness. Goes right back up in there. Hopefully, this whole thing runs. Again, both the belts are installed back. All 4 bolts are tight. 2 bolts are tight over here. And let's plug it in. See if it works. Here we go. Looks like it's turning. It's good to me. That should do it for the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.